Hello, everyone. This is Danish Khalil, and today I'm back again with another live podcast session. But this time today, I have a very famous personality, which many of you, might have seen and heard about, and definitely you might have gone through a lot of videos of him if you have used Helium 10. So myself is Danish Khalil. I'm hosting this session with Bradley Sutton. He is director trainings at Helium 10. He's a very well-known personality. He's a host of Serious Sellers podcast. Plus, he is into the Amazon industry for I think more than 10 years, I believe. The purpose of this session is to understand the current issues, the current challenges of private label selling on Amazon as well as on Walmart, and what are the opportunities to leverage these days, and why the sellers are moving from Amazon to Walmart. Why is the shift? Why people are having this transformation, and what Helium 10 is offering to us with its advanced, new, updated tools and features available these days. So let's hear it directly from the guy behind the Helium 10 tool. So Bradley, welcome to this session, and I really appreciate your time and your presence. So how are you doing today?
Doing just awesome. Thank you for having me on. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. So, first of all, a little introduction about Bradley Sutton, and how did you start this whole journey? How did you and Helium 10 started off the journey together? So, just a little brief about you, so people should know and understand about how Bradley Sutton is a part of this whole gigantic software tools.
Yeah, so I didn't use Helium 10 since day one. I didn't know it was around. Maybe in 2016. I was using other tools, and then one of the tools I was using just wasn't working well. So somebody said, "Hey, you should try this newer tool, Helium 10." And I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And I was like, "Wow, this is really amazing! Everything in one. I can cancel multiple tools I was using." And so I started using Helium 10 as a in my consultant business, and I would always talk on the Facebook groups of Helium 10, and then that's how the owners of Helium 10 found me. They're like, "Oh, who's this guy who's always talking so much in the Facebook groups?" And they invited me to meet them and offered me a job, and that was like around I think it was like around 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, fast forward almost 6 years, and now I'm still here at the company.
All right, amazing. So, Bradley, since we have seen a lot of challenges coming in for Amazon sellers these days, and you obviously run a lot of podcast sessions with one of the top brands selling on Amazon. So, you are in the industry, you know the numbers, you know the analytics, and you run a lot of different projects like Project X and many other. So, how do you currently see the situation for the Amazon sellers? Keeping the rise of the Amazon fee, the margins are shrinking, and people are saying that move to some other platform, or you should have your own D2C website compared to only relying on Amazon, because the verification processes, the intellectual property issues, the rise of Amazon fee, a lot of competition. Amazon as a brand gives you a lot of competition in many categories. So how do you see this whole thing coming together for the sellers these days in the year 2023? How do you see this to take forward as approach as a seller?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually a good thing that's going on right now. Like, there's it's not as maybe easy, I guess, to sell on Amazon, and some people might think that's bad, but for me, that's a good thing because the more obstacles that happen, um, you know, the more the competition will in some places will kind of even out. Where gone are the days anybody can just snap their fingers and have success on Amazon. So even now, you like in the last couple of weeks, there's this newer thing where, hey, if you don't verify your identity and 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 take these steps, that you might get kicked off the platform. And who knows, maybe there are some bad characters who were having too many accounts and now they can't verify themselves. There's more regulations now, more certificates. I remember on one of our accounts last week. We have like helium 10 backpack, and just as a not to make money, but we were stored in Amazon. That's how we can ship it to people sometimes. But then it got removed. Now it got removed because now all of a sudden they're like, hey, you didn't have this certification for backpacks. We don't care too much about it, but still, it's to me, some sellers might view this as a negative. For me, it's a positive. The more regulations it means that the people who really know what they're doing and who are dedicated to Amazon, they're the ones who are going to have success, and some of these other bad players out there are going to be off of the platform. So I think that there's always going to be a lot of opportunity. No matter how much competition there is on Amazon, maybe there's certain categories that are or subcategories or products that are very too competitive, no way to make money. But for every 5 that become like that, there is going to be 6 brand new markets that nobody ever heard of, that anybody can have success. So I think that always it's going to be possible to make money on Amazon.
Yeah, so that is what the bigger sellers think, from the perspective that the platform is putting up policies and restricting the things to make it more safer for the buyers as well as for the sellers, and to make the process a little more transparent for everyone. So that's the right approach, probably, to make the platform a bit more cleaner than it was before.
Yeah.
So since Helium 10 is a gigantic software, it keeps on improving, adding features, and has a lot of things, for the elite sellers as well as for the regular sellers. So, what do you think about, like, how, do you think any aspect or any feature which Helium 10 is still missing compared to any other tool in the market, or do you think Helium 10 is still a very complete package and you don't need to, like, it keep on improving? But is there any feature that Helium 10 is currently working on and would like to improve and enhance in the coming days?
I mean, we're never going to just kick back and be satisfied with where we're at. Um, the cool thing, I think, is that Amazon in the last year or two has released so much new data points and things that it never had before, and that some people will say, "Oh no, aren't you scared? Amazon's releasing too much," and I'm like, "No, that's not the case at all. Like, I actually, this is a good thing. Like the more analytics that Amazon provides, that's the more opportunity for us to innovate." And so I think that we are just going to continue to kind of go in the direction of what the customers want. In the last few months, very popular thing, has been about artificial intelligence, AI, chat GPT, things like this, where 6 months ago, nobody even heard of it. Or most people had in the Amazon world, had no idea that there would be something that Amazon sellers would like. And now, a few months later, we have the ability in Helium 10 to make listings, with Chat GPT and our listing builder tool. We have a brand new complete dashboard where instead of just having customers have to know how to use all the filters and how to go into each tool, we're delivering the results on the dashboard, powered by AI and powered by machine learning. And so that's always going to be the case. Maybe by this time next year, there's something that we will have that even right now I can't even imagine. But so we're never going to stop innovating.
That's really amazing. Okay, one of like, we had a discussion before about this, and obviously this is what something nobody can like, obviously. But what are the possible discounts or any coupon codes available for the mass level that people should avoid, buying it from the tools provider, and should only buy directly from Helium 10 and from the Helium 10's platform available? But people over here in Pakistan find it really expensive because the dollar rate is, it's 3 times now to the currency. So when you buy anything of $100, it's like we can multiply with 3 times to the Pakistani currency. So when to multiply with 300, it's really expensive for the Pakistani sellers to afford a software like Helium 10. Obviously, people over here does have their own softwares, because when you integrate it with your seller account, then definitely you need to have your own helium 10. So what discounts or what possible offers available for the mass level of people, if I would like to introduce a coupon code through you, and I would like to promote helium 10 as an official tool, as an official software, not any tool provider or any, you can say, cracked version or any cheaper version. So what do you think, how you
Yeah.
guys can participate in this activity for the Pakistanis?
Yeah, so that's very important. It's not just Pakistan. There are many countries where there's inflation and economic issues. So of course we're mindful of that. But there's a couple important things to understand. Now, first of all, like when you use tools like, I'm not just talking about Helium 10. I see this for many different tools inside and outside of the Amazon world. But when you're using them in ways that it's not meant to, it's similar to stealing. And so this I would never suggest, even for competitors. Like, this is just not something that is good when you are giving money to some of these tool providers. In my opinion, it's the same as stealing, regardless of who you're using. That being said, of course, like, okay, well, what's the option, for if you're if you're unable to afford it? Well, the last time I went to Pakistan, I talked a little bit about this, and there's different options. Now, number one, when you share also with tool providers, it's dangerous for you, the user, because many people don't realize that with the different tools, now all of a sudden you don't know who is in your account. Maybe there's like 20 people or 30 people who are all sharing the same account. Well, you don't realize that anything that you are doing, the other 30 people on the account or the tool provider owner, they can see everything you're doing. So, maybe it's product research you're doing a lot. You found a very profitable product. Well, guess what? 20 other people now know the exact product that you just found. You're connecting your uh that account to the Amazon account. Now everybody can see everything in your account. They can see all of your keywords. They can see this and that. So it's very dangerous to just blindly go there. So then what is the option? Well, there's a couple of options. Um if you're working as a consultant, like I suggest, trying, have your clients, pay for the Helium 10. If they can't pay for Helium 10, or they don't already have Helium 10, then, they're probably not serious, as a client. Another option, like, let's say you're just, trying to start out, and you have a, small agency, or again, you're a freelancer. Um, it, the option is to have a team that you can trust. Like I mentioned this before, when I was, visiting and speaking in different cities. Love going to Peshawar and Karachi and Lahore and Islamabad. When I would speak in these cities, what I would suggest is, hey, especially people who are in different communities, be it enablers or be it another, community out there in Pakistan, you're interacting with colleagues, and, sometimes you're in facilities and you're meeting people, and maybe you start working with people. Well, if there's like maybe 3 or 4 of you who want to team up, that's not against the rules. That's not stealing. If you become a team of 4, I mean, Helium 10 is designed for use by multiple people. So you cannot have multiple logins at the same time up until, like, beyond 4. But with Helium 10, you can have up to 4 people on at the same time. And so there's nothing wrong with sharing your password or something with somebody on your own team who works for your own company. So if you split, Helium 10 or another tool like 4 different ways, now all of a sudden it's not so expensive. And so I think this is important to understand that, like, never use the tool providers, because, again, number one, that's stealing. Number two, it's very dangerous to you for your personal information and your hard work that you're doing. Now everybody can see it. Um, and number three, you're gonna have, technical issues, as well at times. But that doesn't mean that, you can't, afford Helium 10. There's different ways to do that. And then, there's different discounts. Like, for example, one that we give on the podcast, I think it's the best discount because it's for life, is a SSP10, for Serious Sellers Podcast. So SSP10, that's like 10% off for life. So there's an additional discount. There's some discounts where it's like 20% for 3 months or 4 months, or even up to 6 months. But the problem with those is that then it goes back to the full price. So I suggest the lifetime discount of SSP10, and then that will save you money off of the full plan.
Excellent, excellent. That's really amazing. And obviously, I personally would like to encourage this because we do understand the data privacy and data breaching issues. Obviously, it's available, and can anybody can see what you have worked upon, what product you are working on, which keywords are you tracking upon. So this is something really important for all of the sellers, obviously, to understand from the perspective. And there is another perspective that if you can't afford a tool of $100 a month, then how can you be able to afford, the other stuff related to
Yes.
private label selling? How can you be able to afford the inventory planning, the all the other stuff, because you need to integrate a lot of different tools. Helium 10 alone is more of a one window solution. It has everything in it: profitability, P&L solutions, inventory planning, refund journey, and reimbursement alert, and a lot of hijacking alerts. Everything is there. I have a very important question to you, which I have been facing, and I have faced many times. I have been into, this e-commerce industry for over 7 years. I've, trained and facilitated more than 10,000 people. I have been a part of Utopia Deals, very big seller. I was part of Extreme Commerce. I've trained people over there. I was part of enablers for over 4 years. One thing which is very common, which we all try, and which all tried their best to work upon, is the mindset. You know, if you are working with any of the Amazon private label seller and you would like to launch his or her product, what tactics or strategies do you use to first work upon the mindset of people? Because when somebody is coming in from a job 9 to 5 mindset and they want to come into and jump into this business, they want to have quick results. They want to get rich, in just overnight, or is in few days. So the mindset is the very first important part, and this needs to be trained well. It requires detailed training. First, we need to make other people understand this is a business like any other business. There are profits, there are losses, there are ups and downs. I have find it pretty difficult to work upon the mindset of different people. Pakistanis, they want quick results because they see a video, they see a success story, they want to get rich quickly because somebody, Salman Gauri, that kid, he got rich, he got good, is making good money. I also want to make good money at the age of 16. So this mindset is really difficult. So how do you train people in this particular subject of mindset building?
Yeah, there's a lot of I even dedicated a whole podcast episode recently about mindset, and so if anybody is don't switch to there now, but later on, if you're watching this in the replay, you can check out episode 400 of Serious Sellers Podcast, and the first 20 minutes of that is all about mindset. So for me, that's important, and there's different levels of what somebody must do. But one thing that's in my opinion, and I say opinion because I don't like to state things where it's one size fits all, or just because Bradley says so, then it must be the same for everybody. But my personal opinion is that number one, people need to be passionate about what they're doing, no matter what they're doing. I'm not talking. It's not just about Amazon. If you're an accountant, you need to be passionate about it. You can't have the mindset where I am just working. In America, we say from 9 to 5 or from 8 to 5, or I'm punching my time clock, or I'm here just to make my monthly salary. When you have the mindset of doing your job and it's just a job and you're not passionate about it all, you're not. You might have some success, but you're really capping the potential of what you can reach, and you're never going to be happy. So for me, no, I've had many jobs in my life. I've only been, in Amazon, relatively speaking, not that much of my life. I've had different jobs. Well, my first thing I always try and do is, hey, can I be passionate about it? And sometimes I can't. Sometimes sometimes it's hard to make yourself passionate, and unfortunately you got to do what you got to do. Those of us who have families, we have to work and we have to provide for our family. Even sometimes we don't like what we do, but when you become successful, it's usually because you're very passionate. It almost doesn't feel like a job. So if you have been in the Amazon space for a while, and you don't really enjoy it, you're not going to be successful. I'll tell you right now. Maybe you'll hit some measure of success. So it's important that you learn to enjoy what you're doing. And if not, and you can do something else, there's nothing wrong with leaving Amazon behind. Maybe this is not your calling. Maybe there's something else that's going to make you more happy and give you fulfillment. But if you have the power of mind to almost make yourself enjoy it more, you're going to find that you're going to have more success. And so in that episode I talked about, I have a lot of strategies I do that I sometimes gamify. I make it a competition just with myself, different tasks. And instead of looking at things in a mundane way, I it becomes more exciting. It becomes a challenge. And before you know it, I'm enjoying, what I'm doing, and I get more fulfillment from it. And that's when all of a sudden you can break boundaries and become more successful and be able to reach new heights. And so once you get that, out of the way, the next step is not to trust yourself too much when it comes to Amazon. In other words, don't be too proud to think that you know everything. You have to be open to always learning. The one thing in Amazon is that it changes every day, and you have to be willing to adapt. Maybe you were successful, 2 years ago. Well, if all the strategies you used 2 years ago and you were successful, that's all you're doing today, I guarantee you're gonna fail soon, because Amazon is constantly changing. What worked 6 months ago sometimes doesn't work today. So you have got to, that's not the same in the accounting world. I've never been an accountant. I don't know why I keep talking about accounting, but in the accounting world, what worked in 1987, accounting principles, that's still working in 2023. Those things don't change. But in Amazon, you can't tackle Amazon that way. So you always have to be ready to learn the new things, the new data points that come out, and instead of trusting your own knowledge or yourself, trust the data. You know, Amazon puts out data, Helium 10 puts out data, whatever whatever tool you're using, there's data. So follow the data and not your own intuition, and that's also going to give you success as well.
That's some it all, I guess, because you have explained it pretty well. One thing I would like to add, because one of the very important things about the Amazon is you need to constantly review the data. And analytics alone is obviously, the some portion is your intuition, maybe some portion of your experience, some portion of your expertise you have, and obviously some portion you need to, put some luck as well. It's not only about what you know, it's about how you are taking things ahead confidently with a positive mindset. So many of the sellers which I have experienced in my life in the private label, they failed because of poor planning and absolutely poor cash flow management. Cash flow management is the most important and very essential thing while you are planning to run your private label store. You can't run out of cash. This business requires cash. This business requires good budget. You need to plan inventories very well. You need to have one inventory in transit, one is in the production, and one at the warehouse, and one at Amazon. So these are, the way the bigger sellers are actually selling. But failure ratio is very high on Amazon. Many sellers have failed. Many sellers have find the failure ratio around 70%, 60%, probably 80%. If you launch 5 products, 3 will fail, 2 will work, or maybe 4 will fail and 1 will work. So the right strategy is, obviously you need to try a lot of different things. As Bradley has mentioned, there is no one fixed strategy. You need to be open about learning. Intellectual humility is very important. You need to keep yourself open. Whatever is the new knowledge is, you need to adopt. If I have a 7 years experience, I cannot say I know everything about Amazon. You have like 10 plus years experience, you also cannot say, you usually don't say, obviously, about everything about Amazon. So it keeps evolving. So you need to evolve yourself as well with the platform. Keep yourself updated and upgraded with the latest knowledge. We have few questions from the audience here, but we'll take a little later.
Sure.
I have another very important question about the Pakistani and obviously the usual mindset, I would say. We don't want to run PPC. There is a fear of running Amazon PPC. I will put all my money on PPC and I will get nothing at the end. So the PPC, everybody knows about PPC. They know how to run PPC. But what do you think most of the sellers lack in the PPC? Running it in the right way, and obviously the knowledge we have around the globe on YouTube, on different platforms, on different training institutes. What is the major thing lack in the PPC subject by any of the seller? Where do you see the major lacking?
Yeah, I mean, I deal with sellers of all levels, new sellers, 9-figure sellers, 7-figure sellers, and it's kind of shocking sometimes that even, some details of PPC, even bigger companies don't really understand. And for me, this is PPC is not something that, hey, let me learn as I go, or I'll learn this later. Like from day one, you better already know everything about PPC because that can make or break your business. And so people lack even the basic knowledge sometime of how it works and best practices. They don't understand, you know, how auto campaigns work. They don't understand basics like how to do, negative, how and when to do negative matching, or they don't understand all of the different types of PPC, like sponsored display, sponsored brand, and in what situations to use it. And so this is something important to do. Like if you're a specialist out there, you're like me, I was a specialist. Before I sold on Amazon myself, I was a consultant for sellers. I didn't know PPC, but it was okay because I didn't have to know PPC. That wasn't my job. I was a specialist. I was a specialist on product or on listing optimization, and launch and keyword research. I didn't have to know PPC. Somebody else was handling those things. But once I started selling on Amazon myself, I couldn't just say, oh no, my specialty is listing optimization. My specialty is keyword research. I don't have to know PPC. No, if I'm running an account from A to Z, PPC is the first thing that I need to understand how to do. Another thing that people don't understand is when Amazon made the shift to make things like two-step URLs and search, find, buy, and things like this against terms of service. The only way, or one of them, I shouldn't say the only way, but the main way of launch now is through PPC. And so that's another thing that, sellers who have been selling for a while and they were used to these other um, methods of launch, like search, find, buy, I mentioned, and two-step URL and using services, ManyChat, whatever. Now they have no idea how to launch with just PPC, and so that's another failure I think by some people. So yeah, um, maybe you don't know how to do Amazon Post, or maybe you don't know the finest detail of Amazon A plus content, or you don't know how to do influencer marketing. You can survive. You can still have success on Amazon, without this. But if you don't know PPC, you better not even get started. You need to really understand PPC because that's the backbone. In almost all cases of private label, that's the backbone of success.
All right. Let's take some questions from the audience. Amir Dosani is asking, mindset is one thing, but sometimes mindset alone is not enough. Strategies are revolving as high cost of PPC. FBA has pushed new sellers back in a hole. How to counter all this, and what's the new marketing strategy to make things work?
Yeah. So are costs high on Amazon? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that you can't be profitable. Maybe something that was working last year in PPC or a keyword that was really profitable for you, now it's not profitable. That's something important for Amazon sellers to be ready to do, which is pivot. And you can't just keep throwing money, for example, at a keyword because in 2021 this keyword made you a lot of money. If it's not profitable now and you are going to lose money on it, you have to be ready to stop doing that, whether it's PPC, whether it's a product. Sometimes products become not profitable, and you can't be emotionally attached to a product where you keep selling it even though you can't make money. So that's something that Amazon sellers need to be ready to do, is pivot. No matter what kind of success they had before, at the end of the day you've got to be making money, and so you've got to be able to understand how to optimize things. It doesn't mean that at the first sign of trouble you give up on a product or you give up on something. No. If the beauty about PPC is that you are in control. You know, Amazon is not going to spend money that you are not making available. Amazon is not going to bid on something that you did not set. So if you are unprofitable at $1.25 cost per click, you have the power to take that down to $1 and see if you are profitable. If a certain kind of auto campaign targeting, such as close match, let's just say, or let's just say loose match. Hey, that's not working out. Well, you can lower the bid on that, or you can just pause that target. So you as the seller, or you as the consultant, you as the company, as the business, you're in control of your journey on Amazon. And so you have to be ready to pivot and make sure that you stay profitable. So nowadays what's working is PPC, just as always has worked. Maybe a little bit different than in previous years, but it's still working. uh Taking advantage of all of the new kinds of traffic that Amazon has, where you can even bring off Amazon traffic and get money back from Amazon when you do this. That's working. Influencer marketing is working sometimes more than ever. um Diversifying to multiple marketplaces. You mentioned Walmart in the beginning. I think 3 years ago, maybe 3% of Amazon sellers were considering selling on Walmart. People were like, no, it's not worth my time. But then after, especially after COVID happened, more and more sellers are like, hey, I need to diversify my income streams and not just make it all from Amazon UK, or not make it all from Amazon USA. I need to first sell on multiple Amazon marketplaces, and I need to start diversifying to maybe Shopify and, of course, Walmart.com. And so these are all important things, in my opinion, to stay profitable and make sure to kind of have a good base, a foundation for your business in 2023.
Yeah, because I've seen these statistics about the Walmart sellers. Obviously, in 2018, only 3% sellers have joined, and in 2022, it's 35%. So, this number is rising crazy at a crazy pace. And a lot of Chinese sellers are actually joining in, because a lot of Chinese sellers was like wiped off by Amazon last year. So a lot of Chinese sellers are actually joining in the Walmart and starting private label. So I have a very important question regarding the Walmart, that how efficient Helium 10 is working for the Walmart platform compared to Amazon. Obviously, for Amazon, it's a very mature tool, but for Walmart, do you think a lot of work needs to be done still, or is it a beta version, or what?
Yeah, so for Walmart, we're always innovating. It's a newer marketplace for us, and also the same data points are not available in Walmart that are in Amazon. Like in Walmart, there is no BSR. So some things might be harder, like sales estimation. Amazon, like as I mentioned, has so much data points, so it's a lot easier, I think, for an Amazon seller. But a lot of the base tools are going to be working in Walmart. We've got Magnet. We've got Cerebro. Different things, part of the Chrome extension. Helium 10 Profits, will work. And our latest tool that we just launched for Walmart sellers is our Atomic, which is our PPC tool. So now Walmart sellers can manage their PPC and even do some kinds of automation with Atomic. But there's certain tools that just don't we don't have for Walmart yet. The demand hasn't been there from the customers, or it's just not available. Like maybe Black Box. We don't have Black Box for Walmart yet. Certain tools in the Chrome extension is that we have for Amazon, we don't have for Walmart. So it's still a newer marketplace for us, but as with any feature that Helium 10 makes, the way we decide or the things that we decide to do, almost all of it comes from the users. So the things that our customers are asking for the most, that's the direction that we move in. So if somebody is like, man, I really need this for Walmart, or I want Helium 10 to open up for Amazon Egypt or something like that. Well, you have to let Helium 10 know, and then and the more people that ask for a certain feature, that's how we prioritize what we work on.
Excellent, excellent. Um, I would encourage all the audience and whoever is seeing us right now live and whoever will see this video later on, because this will be available on my all my platforms on my social media. Serious Seller podcast. It has 435 episodes, I believe. The 455 episodes.
Mhm.
So it's an amazing podcast series, obviously run by the great Bradley Sutton. So you can have a look at it. A lot of amazing content is there. The recent video which I have just seen is about Amazon sales with TikTok advertising. This is the latest episode I just seen on
Yeah.
the platform. So I would encourage all of you to watch this podcast, listen to it, have a understanding about the concept, in-depth knowledge about different platform, different tools, and obviously get to know about different sellers' perspective about Amazon and different platforms and marketplaces. Again, Walmart is also been in a hot discussion these days on different platforms. So Helium 10 is already, as explained by Bradley Sutton, about the tool is working for Walmart, but obviously not all the features of Helium 10 because it doesn't require maybe. So it's not applicable at some of the points, data points. Um, we have a very important question again. This question is, you can say this is my question as well. Is Helium 10 showing correct data for UAE and KSA market? This is a big struggle for all of us. Big
Yeah,
struggle.
for Saudi Arabia, we don't have like a lot of the tools available. The for some marketplaces that we don't have the research tools, all that's available is, for example, like in maybe profits, pulling, the reports. And so for that, you can almost say it's 100% accurate because we're not doing any estimations, like X-ray estimations on sales or keywords or things like that. It's only pulling in the exact Amazon information that you would see in your Seller Central, and so in that sense, that's of course like 100%. But right now we don't have, like, for example, KSA, we don't have Helium 10 X-ray, so there's no sales estimations for there. We haven't had enough people asking for that one to focus on that, so like we don't have Cerebro for that marketplace. But UAE, we've launched more recently for some of our tools, and yeah, so whatever we've launched, you should expect accuracy. And with anything, doesn't matter, even for Amazon USA, which we've had forever, or Amazon UAE, which is our newest, marketplace. And the way that we can be so accurate is, customers definitely, let us know if they find some kind of problem. You know, they let us know, and then we can check it. But yeah, KSA not yet. But if there's a lot of people who are wanting that, then we can definitely consider adding that down the road.
That also answers, the question Hassan Amin has asked about how efficient and accurate Helium 10 tools in UAE and KSA markets, as it has been launched for some time. So we already have answered that whatever is available is accurate as per your knowledge. So we have a question from Sarang Raza. Share thoughts on Amazon drop shipping and retail arbitrage, and what its future as per Bradley, and potential markets of Amazon in 2023, like the emerging or growing markets of Amazon in 2023. So this is like collectively two
Mhm.
questions.
Yeah, I've done a lot myself even before of drop shipping and arbitrage. From what I hear from sellers a lot, it's this is one of the aspects I think of Amazon that has gotten exponentially more difficult than a few years ago. Um, Amazon is having more rules and regulations. I think a popular thing maybe 3 years ago was like Amazon to Walmart drop shipping and vice versa. But then both Amazon and Walmart started putting in a lot more rules and closing people's accounts who was doing that. They're like, no, if you're selling on Walmart, we don't want you drop shipping from Amazon. And if you're selling on Amazon, you cannot be fulfilling from Walmart. And so a lot of that, got shut down. That being said, I still know personally of many people who have still big success, doing drop shipping and arbitrage, even though it's more difficult. For some people that's actually been better because now there's less competition, because they actually took the time to go through the regulations and the certifications and verifications and things like that. So I think there's always going to be potential for drop shipping and retail arbitrage, at least on Amazon USA for sure. New markets, the one market I think that people are sleeping on more than any other market in Amazon would be Amazon Japan. And that's due to the size of the marketplace. It goes back and forth between the number 3 and number 4 marketplace in the world for Amazon. It's USA is number 1, Germany is number 2, but UK and Japan go back and forth. Now UK, everybody knows about Amazon UK and many people selling there, but comparatively speaking, there's far less competition in Amazon Japan than any of the other top 4 marketplaces. It's a little bit harder to get into. Like you have to have somebody local in Japan who can be kind of like your importer of record or somebody who's responsible. And so it's not as easy to sell over there. But PPC is so cheap. Cost per click is so cheap. Some niches that in USA and UK are very saturated is completely wide open in Japan. So I think that's a marketplace that more people should try to sell on.
Thank you, Bradley, for a great answer as usual. Um, we have more questions. A lot of people are engaged today because of the popular Bradley Sutton is with us. Uh, what are some lesser known or underutilized features in Helium 10 that sellers should explore to maximize their selling potential on Amazon? Very interesting question. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple of ones that I think would be interesting is first just in general, a lot of sellers do not understand the power of product targeting in PPC. We talked about this. This is an episode. I would highly recommend everybody to listen to episode 450 of the Serious Sellers podcast. About 2 weeks ago, I interviewed somebody, the professor of Amazon. His name is Howard. Actually, I think Howard has a lot of employees as well in Pakistan.
Yeah, yeah.
But one thing he was talking about was when he launches, he's very big on product targeting for PPC, and the reason is, he has a very intimate knowledge of the Amazon algorithm, and especially during launch, if if somebody clicks on your ad from a product targeting, you sometimes kind of like absorb ranking juice from that product, and I've tested this before too, and so one way to get good product targeting ads, or there's two ways. There's one where he talks in that episode about a strategy where he tries to pull everybody from page 1 and page 2 of the main keywords and throw them all into one campaign in the beginning, just to see which one sticks. And so instead of trying to copy one by one the ASIN, you should use a little known Helium 10 tool called ASIN Grabber. So if you hit ASIN Grabber just once, it's going to pull all of the top 100 listings from page 1 and page 2, and then you can just download it into Excel file and just take all of the ASINs within 15 seconds and put it into a campaign, as opposed to one by one checking all the 100 products on page 1 and page 2. Another good way of finding product targeting um, potential is another kind of, I don't want to say hidden, but not very popular tool inside of Helium 10, and that's black box product targeting. So, everybody knows black box, black box products, black box keywords. is great way for product hunting. But the very last or the second to last tab in black box is called product targeting. And so if I enter in an ace in there, what's going to come up is like the last 30 days of history of frequently bought together. And so this is a great way to get product targeting because in the frequently bought together, it's not just showing up the similar products. Like if I put that for my coffin shelf, of course, maybe some of them are other coffin shelves, right? But what happens is with a coffin shelf, if you watch every day your own listings frequently bought together, if you're manually checking that every day, you're gonna see sometimes people are buying this coffin shelf with some skull, or sometimes people are buying it with a coffin carpet or rug or something like that, and all these complementary products. And you typically Amazon sellers don't realize that those are excellent targets for PPC, even though it's not in the same niche. And so you wouldn't have even known about some of these products existing, or that somebody is interested in a coffin shelf would be interested in these. And so using that little known Helium 10 tool, black box product targeting, you can instantly see up to like 20, 30, or sometimes more products that have shown up in that box in the last month.
That's a wonderful tip. I think many sellers probably who might have idea about this might not be using it and leveraging it. Then you should use it. This is a very good tip already given by Bradley. And again, I would really encourage you to go through the Serious Sellers podcast series, and they have tons of topics on variety of different issues and aspects covered over in the episodes, 455 episodes, so you guys can have a great idea about it. um, we have a few more questions. That's a big one, like long question. Amazon has become extremely saturated. Again, a handful of sellers are going to thrive, but a majority of them would fail. Walmart is the next market that most sellers are jumping into, and with Chinese sellers jumping guns, in no time that would be saturated too. What new emerging marketplaces are we looking at to establish a niche brand? Also, how do we see the future of Facebook Marketplace emerging in North America?
I mean, first of all, I disagree about Amazon being saturated. What gets saturated is not Amazon overall. Uh,
Okay.
it's niches. So I would tell Amir that Amazon is still just as much as an opportunity as it was before. That's what I was talking about before. You have to be ready to pivot. So I always use the example collagen peptides. That's like a saturated niche in Amazon. Don't sell collagen peptides. That doesn't mean Amazon overall is is saturated, but now you've got to go find the niche where it's not saturated. And so I never would suggest to anybody to go away from Amazon to another marketplace, because Amazon is still the number one opportunity. Same thing for Walmart. There are before there was no niche or no category in Walmart was saturated, but now, yeah, sure, there are some that might be saturated, but there's still Walmart is still wide open. And so no matter what, you're always going to find opportunity on the main platforms. The ones in America, I think, that have really been growing, we talked about this on the podcast last week, is some of these new Chinese marketplaces that is selling in America, especially in fashion, like Shein is one, Shein, and then Timu or Temu or something like that, where they're trying to open up into third-party marketplaces too. Mainly they've just been like, suppliers from China, but one of them, the Timu one, it's kind of crazy. They have like $1 billion marketing budget, and they're really really trying to make a splash. Now, I wouldn't call them big time threat to Amazon or anything, but in some aspects they're more than Amazon. Like in what's called the fast fashion industry, Sheen is already number one in
Yeah,
America. Like
already. Yeah.
above Forever 21 and above all Walmart and everything else. So if you sell in that niche like fast fashion, and you should be careful, or you should be understanding that they're a big player. But yeah, I do not think that Amazon nor Walmart will ever be 100% saturated, because there's new inventions. I mean, who would have thought 4 years ago people would be interested in coffin shelves. It just came from nowhere. We almost created this market, and now coffin shelves are almost saturated. But now there's other things. Now there's coffin makeup shelves is a big trend. So there's always going to be new opportunity in Amazon and Walmart.
True, exactly. That sums it all. Let's take a couple of more questions, because there are tons of questions in from the audience today. Um, okay, that's an interesting question. Irfan has asked, I'm managing a textile account with many SKUs around 1000, and I'm not familiar with this niche. So, can you share some thoughts on how to manage these niches and how to scale these type of accounts, as it's doing 6 figures per month and want to grow to 7 and 8 figures per month?
hmm Yeah, so it's the regardless of what category you're working on, it's a very similar process. You need to see first of all what's working for the products now and where improvements can be made. So the way you can find improvements, the lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion, is always looking at the competition, and SEO and their keywords. So find a very, very similar product, and I guarantee that they are ranking organically or sponsored for keywords that maybe that account didn't know about. It's 100% positive that in every case, unless you've been working on this for 3 years and every week you're doing an audit, no matter what, I guarantee that competitors are making sales from keywords that you are not making sales from. So that to me is the lowest hanging fruit. Use a tool like Cerebro with Helium 10. Do reverse ASIN on your competitors who have the similar products and find what keywords are driving their sales. And now you need to go back and optimize your own listing to try to make sure that you can get sales. So that is what I would suggest to start.
Great. Okay. There is a lot of buzz around. People ask this question to me and to many other people, that should we rely only on Amazon PPC while ranking our newly launched product, or should we run in parallel, Google Ads or TikTok or Pinterest or any other platform other than Amazon PPC? Or do you think we should rely solely on Amazon PPC initially for the first 15 or 20 days, rank our product aggressively, and then try to adopt other third party marketing channels other than Amazon once we have some reviews, once we gain some ranking, once we have some BSR, trying to mature or grow up? What do you think?
It depends. So, like for me personally, I've never done TikTok ads or even Google ads, and I've been fine. But that's just because of the niches that I sell in is not very competitive, and I don't think it's not necessary to have success. If you're trying to sell in a more competitive niche, and you're starting with no reviews, and it's hard for you to bring new traffic and to get trust on Amazon, you almost can't have success without bringing outside traffic. So there's no one answer for everybody, but do the market analysis, and if you need to do it, do it. And if you don't, if you're selling coffin shelves or egg trays like me or something, don't waste your money on sending a bunch of Google ads. You can have success without that. So understand your market and then make the decision from there. So there's not one answer for everybody.
All right. I've seen a post on LinkedIn. There was a post related to comparison of Amazon and D2C selling. And it's, many people have said, that a lot of people are asking over here as well, that Amazon has become saturated and, we should move into some other platforms, build our own website and try to rank it through that. But in that particular post, I've seen that D2C, it's not so easy to have your ROAS through D2C website compared to Amazon. It's not so easy to build your audience because Google ads are very expensive initially. So comparing it with Amazon and the traffic that Amazon gives you, the credibility and the trust you have on Amazon from the buyers, you have prime buyers, you have Amazon FBA. So the comparison that that guy has made was really amazing, and Amazon is still not yet saturated, and it's not that easy to rank your products through a D2C website compared with Amazon. So there is a debate, obviously, and the debate again goes with the category you are operating in, the niche you are operating in, but it varies from the category to category. But again, as Bradley has mentioned, if you would like to go into collagen peptides, then obviously it's a very comparative niche. You can't obviously get into it, but there may be many other variants that might have launched recently in the collagen category or in related category where you can find your space. So choose your category and choose your product wisely, and obviously don't get into the comparative niche.
Absolutely.
One last question. Obviously, we are having this session a bit prolonged. I think that's not a relevant question. Okay. All right. Aisha Khan is asking, many people are asking that Amazon has no future because there are so many sellers, so competition is very high. Is that true? And one more thing, which business model should people do in the beginning, like private label, wholesale, drop shipping? What do you recommend? I think the first question you
Yeah.
already have answered many
Yeah.
times.
First
So
question we definitely answered. Second
yeah,
part, it depends on you. Do what works for your budget. If you don't
yeah,
have too much money, don't try to do maybe a humongous private label right off the bat. But even if you have, I did a case study before called Project 5K, where with 5,000 US dollars, I launched 12 different products. So that shows you that you don't need a lot of money. So, if I can do 5,000 for 12, that means, I could have done one for only 500 or $600, So, but hey, even if you don't have that budget, well, there's still ways to start on Amazon and generate revenue with zero. There's merch by Amazon. There's KDP. There's different kinds of selling of ways to make money where it requires zero investment, or you could do like me and start out being a consultant, first. Now don't do it just, learn while you go. You need to know what you're doing before you can work for other people. But that's the beauty about Amazon. When you're talking about, we've been talking about being an accountant before. There's kind of one path to being an accountant. In Amazon, there's not one path to success. You can start small. You can start with different business models. But to me, the ultimate is going to be private label. That's something that is never going to go away, and that would be the most ideal for somebody to get into.
all right. One last question. Many people, might have this question, so let me ask on behalf of them.
Sure.
In the online arbitrage and wholesale category, like people are finding it really difficult these days to get their invoices approved because Amazon asks for an invoice. When you provide the invoice of a distributor, Amazon rejects. So when you buy the inventory has been booked. You have paid for it to the distributor, and the invoice is not being accepted by Amazon. So this is like kind of an issue which many of the sellers facing in the past, like from the past 4, 5, 6 months. So do you have any tip for any of these issues? Once how one can tackle it?
Yeah, it's tough. I've heard of similar things. So this, in my opinion, is where people need to rely on the community. You know, maybe Helium 10 community. There's a number of wholesalers and arbitrage people that can help. But I think there's a lot of strong communities in Pakistan where there's people who are in it every day and don't jump into something without fully doing the research, but rely on your community to try and make sure that you are 100% sure that a certain invoice is going to work, or a certain provider or a certain whole distributor is going to work before jumping in. um that's something that, regard even completely different topic, but whether you're a private label seller or whatever kind of seller, I have always been a very big kind of proponent of leveraging the community. Like actually tonight, Tonight in the Helium 10, near the Helium 10 main office, we've rented out a room in a kind of fun area. We have this place called Dave and Buster's where there's like games and food and things, and there's going to be 100 Amazon sellers joining, to kind of have a event. I always try and leverage these kind of things, and it's sometimes hard, like to have people open up and be willing to ask questions to a community. You don't know who to trust, but build your network of people you can trust. When I say leverage community, it doesn't mean just posting in a Facebook group with 300,000 people who you don't know and then believing everything that everybody says. But community means building your own personal network with people that you can trust and who and you verified have done the same things that you're trying to do, and leverage them. So I highly recommend doing that. So that you can make sure that you're not using invoices or trying to get verified using ways that worked last year but don't work now.
Great. Amazing. So we have a pretty detailed and amazing discussion today. Bradley has answered beautifully for all the queries and questions are asked by the audience, and obviously by me as well as a host. Uh, Bradley, one last question before we sign it off. Still, sellers are facing IP issues on Amazon for their private label launches, intellectual property complaints. When they launch the product, you get a complaint that this is my design patent, remove the inventory, or I'll just sue you. So whenever somebody checks their IP or intellectual property or patent related issues, they get everything cleared, and when they launch, they get live. The patent was just live, a month ago or 2 months ago, and now when you are live, the patent is active, and the patent owner is now complaining that this is my intellectual property. How one can face with such issues, and if the inventory is not being able to sell on Amazon, then where one can sell that inventory without hurting any of the intellectual property complaints, or without getting sued by anyone, from anyone.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Not everybody can just hire a patent lawyer and do the research to make sure. Sometimes it might happen where somebody says and you had no idea. Other
Yeah.
times it could be people lying and saying that they do have a patent, but they really don't. And so
Yeah.
that's just one of the, that's just a reality of a danger of selling on Amazon, is you never know when that can happen. Now, because of this, like in our Helium 10 hub, we have a hub where it has service providers that provide service that Helium 10 doesn't provide. It's at hub.helium10.com, HUB. And so like there are different patent attorneys there that somebody could reach out to get help. But yeah, whenever you're trying to do a newer product or a product that exists, try to do on your own at least the patent research to make sure nobody has it. Um, and then if somebody just says, "Hey, we do," look into it, verify. Don't just take their word for it. They could be lying. But at the end of the day, yeah, I've heard of many sellers who they have to give up on a product because there is a patent, and Amazon would probably kick them off, if they kept trying to do it. Sometimes you can work something out with the patent holder, like, hey, I understand this is patent. Is there any way we can work something out? Let me just sell out of this units and I won't sell it again. Sometimes they're willing to work with you, sometimes not. But yeah, that's a danger of Amazon.
Yeah, that's what we usually try to explain to our people here, that there are risks in the business, and obviously, like any other business, there are uncertainties on Amazon, on selling on Amazon as well. So there are certain elements which nobody can, give any surety or any guarantee or any validation about. So that's one of the issues, which is about IP complaints. So thank you so much, Bradley, for your time. It's been a great session, amazing discussion, full of energy, and a lot of people have asked questions, and they loved, obviously they already love you, but that was a brilliant session. Thank you, really appreciate your time, and hope to have you soon with yet another productive discussion. Thank you so much, Bradley.
Thank you very much. Hope to visit Pakistan again in the future. So I'll see you
Yeah,
then.
would love to host you again. Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.